Solar energy is defined as radiant light and heat from the sun, as this is harnessed using a range of ever-evolving technologies such as solar heating, solar thermal energy, and solar architecture. Solar energy is part of the renewable energy family. More importantly, and recently, Zambia has been encouraging the alternatives of energy, and solar has popped up ever increasingly as a high appealing source of electricity.
Our cry is going to be answered by how we have handled that segment of investing in solar energy significantly. And it will be like that. But also something good which I have seen is that there was also talked about wind energy. We cannot rule out that. The reason is that with the assistance of our bilateral partners, I think the German government, the resource mapping for Zambia from a wind perspective was finalized. It was finalized. So we know which pockets in Zambia, which regions in the country have got very good prospects for wind energy. So based on that information, the opportunity is huge to tap into wind energy as well, based on the resource mapping which has been concluded for the country.
The United Nations Development Programme, in its 2000 World Energy Assessment, found that the annual potential of solar energy was 1,575 to 49,837, with one of its biggest advantages being that it's climate friendly. Standard Microgrid added innovation and technology to create a service to the community in Ngwerere in Lusaka, Zambia. With a project cost of 15 million United States dollars, this has become a reality. Sharon Tembo, a client and beneficiary, appreciates the service, though has a complaint on the cost.
Namba sabena buno tunashita appreciate kaidi kwentenzo uzinga makendos. Then makendos inze kudonsa. So pana tetako system ndi sokondwela but malaiti yakaine sabe niyo dula. Tinga pempeko chabe kuti ya bwelirako chabe pansi. Otherwise niyo dula cause from 18 hours to 24 in 10 kwacha. Ayo siku na day. Mabulbs chabe na pandie pana chinja new connection na tistamba kona TV. 2 bulbs multiply 87 per month. Then ya na eva na kamba 11 kwacha a day. So hapa nagula kwa 5 days ya TV.
I asked Brian Somers, the founder and CEO of Standard Microgrid, if the eventual cost is as a result of high production costs.
Everything we do is trying to drive the cost down because the customers themselves are, they don't have any obligation to buy from us. So we make this huge investment into a community, and then we need to make sure the price is at a point that they can afford it, because otherwise we won't recoup our investment. And so everything we do a lot of work on testing what types of things are providing the right amount of value for the customer. For example, if they're using a very old TV that's very inefficient, we'll encourage them to get a flat screen TV, which will drive down the price because it uses much less power. We also enforce energy efficient light bulbs so that they're not using a lower cost like incandescent bulb that actually costs a lot to power, even though the price of the upfront cost is low. So one of the things we work a lot on is education of how do you use power in a way that's highly efficient, which then drives the overall cost to the customer down. We are basically trying to provide AC power in the most cost-effective way, in the most scalable and replicable way across the continent, but in particular in Zambia. We got our start here. Our first power systems were installed here. We continue to test and refine our technologies here, and our biggest operation is here in Zambia. So we're creating an off-grid utility that's managed locally, and we attract foreign investment from France and Sweden and the US government and the UK, all bringing in investment to power rural communities and create development.
I further asked Brian Somers on the collaboration and policies that are speaking to his innovation.
Well, the visit from the US government officials is fantastic. I mean, we get a lot of support from the US government in developing some of these technologies that enable the business model to work. And I think with the new government coming in, there's just a lot of energy and positive energy, and in particular, positive energy coming from the investors. And so having the U.S. government come here and show their support, and for example, the U.S. Trade and Development Agency, they provided funding to us to actually go out and assess over 100 sites across Zambia so that we can build systems just like this, and also work with the communities to make sure that we get the right permitting and all of those things that will enable a project like this to scale up and happen. So they're big supporters, and frankly, we couldn't do a lot of what we do without their support. So them coming here and having a delegation come from the White House is just so meaningful. The other thing that was so exciting about this new government is we're confident that the Kwacha will improve. When we invest in one of these systems, it's usually a US dollar-based capital investment, and then we obviously have Kwacha-based returns. And so if the Kwacha continues to decline, that customer their income doesn't increase to accommodate that, so the effective return becomes much less, which makes it harder to get the investors. And so with the new government, we're hopeful that the Kwacha will strengthen, and that makes the economics much better, which also makes it a lot easier for us to keep the costs as low as possible for the customer.
As the world goes through the fourth revolution, ICT and innovation being added to such projects is highly and widely supported.
I have been so impressed by this project. It is reaching so many important points, providing access to power and empowering the community. I think these are very critical areas that we need to focus in, and we're just very grateful as a U.S. government agency, the U.S. Trade and Development Agency, that has been able to facilitate this project.
With developing economies like Zambia, who have sustainable development agenda as answers to the growing economy, with evidence of prioritizing green environment solutions, energy sources such as solar soon will become popular in use.